I just want the Clarity Act out of the way. If it gets done, I think it's a big positive. I mean, when you have the CEO of Goldman Sachs publicly come out and say, let's just get the Clarity Act through now, you're starting to reach a completely different time where they get tokenization is happening. There's no way to get away from it. Like, you have to understand, we're getting to a world where we are merging these two worlds of the past and the future, and it's happening at a very, very fast pace.
Right now, while most investors are focused on Bitcoin's next price target, a much bigger battle is unfolding behind the scenes in Washington. The Clarity Act, a piece of legislation that could finally establish clear rules for digital assets in the United States, is rapidly becoming one of the most important bills in modern financial history. And what's remarkable is who is now supporting it. Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon has publicly called for lawmakers to advance the legislation. Fidelity is urging the Senate to move it forward. Charles Schwab is doing the same. Even groups that previously raised concerns about crypto regulation are now backing updated language in the bill. The momentum is becoming impossible to ignore. But according to macro investor Jordi Visser, the significance of the Clarity Act extends far beyond Bitcoin. He argues that tokenization is no longer a future concept. Stablecoin adoption is accelerating worldwide. Traditional finance and crypto are beginning to merge into a single financial ecosystem. In his view, the debate is no longer whether this transformation happens. The debate is whether investors are prepared for how quickly it's arriving. And that's only part of the story. Visser believes the second half of this year could bring major shifts across both crypto and artificial intelligence. While Wall Street continues chasing the AI trade, signs are emerging that the easy money phase may already be ending. At the same time, crypto markets are showing early signals that capital could be rotating toward the next stage of blockchain adoption, creating opportunities that many investors still aren't paying attention to. Before we dive in, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications, and let us know in the comments whether you think the Clarity Act passes this year. Now, let's hear what Jordi Visser has to say.
I think it's held in well. I mean, as of when we did this, it was unchanged for the week. I think there's a tremendous now amount of hope that's being built into the Clarity Act being passed, even though the probabilities in Polymarket and Kalshi is still below 50%. If it did pass, it'll be interesting to see the reaction, not only day one, but 2 weeks out. Again, I'm more focused on the second half of the year and the fact that at some point here, the agentic side becomes really important for crypto. That's not going to be today's business. I do think the AI, what we talked about Anthropic, the AI trade's over. And let me as someone who basically has subscribers that pay attention to AI, it's not that AI is over. It's that the easy money of it is done. The ability of getting 7-8 times your money, and that is over. Now you get into the grind of, oh my gosh, 30% a year is horrible. No, 30% a year in the AI infrastructure trade is going to be great, which is why I got interested in Micron again. I'm still got a very small position in Micron because I still think there's a chance there could be another leg lower in this panic side. I don't think it'll stay down there very long, so I want to be ready to put money in. Same thing I did with Bitcoin when it's been trading down here. I think it's going to go higher. I think the things people need to watch, and I've started to post more in X on this, and the subscribers who are interested, I will start a YouTube channel on it. I've been posting more and more the ecosystem index that I created of crypto. It took out the mid-June highs. Bitcoin did not take out the mid-June highs. Ethereum's been outperforming Bitcoin. All these things are suggesting that the market is starting to look more towards the revenue side of the equation, which would be more towards Ethereum and less towards Bitcoin. And that's a positive thing in the long run. And I think we're much closer to this. Look again, Doge, which was something I never thought I'd talk about, but I'm very interested in getting retail back into crypto. And until I see Doge break above, it's been below the 20-day moving average for the longest time in its history. Until we break above it, and we've run into it multiple times over the course of the last 3 months, until we break above it, I don't think retail is participating in this. And I think this is people just trying to stick their nose in a bear market trend, hoping that it'll go higher. I think it's coming soon, but Clarity Act needs to happen. If we don't get passed on that, then we're going to go right back down towards the lows. and we'll have to go through this bottoming process again.
I do wonder at some point, will there be that like froth of retail interest in all of these, what is really kind of more boring aspects of crypto? But if you go and you talk to the traditional folks, they're like, tokenization is going to be a huge thing. Stablecoins are going to be a huge thing, right? It's just like a mismatch between what Wall Street is excited about and what like the crypto retail folks are excited about.
Let's make this all AI related now in terms of crypto. Honestly, whenever you listen to someone say, how are we going to regulate AI? You can't regulate intelligence. Like, this is ridiculous. So the problem is, a year ago, it was very hard for me to say the network effects of crypto and not have someone roll their eyes and be like, I don't even know what that means. I will tell you right now, every single person on the hedge fund world understands what it means now. No question about it. It's not working yet, and I've seen this too many times. Investing and trading is about making money. Nobody wants to buy an asset that has no enthusiasm, no interest. Trust me, I remember Micron the first quarter of last year. So Japan put through major regulation last week on an acceptance of crypto and specifically of Bitcoin. South Korea, same exact thing. Russia this week. The reason I think this is important is there is a race now to the acceptance that, okay, Bitcoin's not a global currency. It's not replacing the dollar. What is replacing SWIFT is stablecoins. Like, you can't get away from it now. Everyone's adopting it. So this is where I think your comment about this is performative. I actually completely agree. I just want the Clarity Act out of the way. If it gets done, I think it's a big positive. I mean, when you have the CEO of Goldman Sachs publicly come out and say, let's just get the Clarity Act through now, you're starting to reach a completely different time where they get tokenization is happening. There's no way to get away from it. I presented the New York Stock Exchange on it. It's happening. There's no way to get around stablecoin adoption. There's no way to get around the fact that the move that Stripe tried to do with PayPal, it's a big merging of the two worlds. PayPal's an old, boring company, the way you described kind of, the way maybe people perceive at this point some of the public companies that are out there. But why did they do that? Because Stripe has the merchants and PayPal has the consumers. Like, you have to understand, we're getting to a world where we are merging these two worlds of the past and the future. And it's happening at a very, very fast pace. So I think crypto will be looked at as connected to AI every single day. And the US has had the ability to sanction people. It's had SWIFT. Everyone's going to want their hands on the new financial guardrails. This is a very, very important thing from a government perspective and also from an investor perspective. People have to be over crypto. It's way past the time of you not doing your homework and worrying about whether clarity gets through. I agree with you. I think this is something very important for people to be spending their time on because of AI.
If Jordi Visser is right, then the Clarity Act isn't simply about regulatory certainty. It's about establishing the infrastructure for a new financial system built around tokenization, stablecoins, and blockchain-based settlement. But while crypto fights for regulatory clarity, another technological race is rapidly changing the investment landscape. Over the past year, the AI boom has been fueled largely by the belief that a handful of American companies would dominate the future of artificial intelligence. That assumption is now being challenged. Open-source AI models coming out of China are improving at an astonishing pace, often delivering capabilities that rival leading U.S. models at a fraction of the cost. Investors are beginning to question whether expensive AI monopolies can maintain their advantage when intelligence itself is becoming increasingly commoditized. And if that happens, the AI trade that drove trillions of dollars in market value could face a much tougher road ahead than many currently expect.
Open source was always going to be a part of the puzzle, always. And I say that with certainty because intelligence, again, will all be different. You'll be using different models. There'll be a race to lower boundary. I mean, Satya Nadella on an interview with Dwarkesh Patel talked about the fact that AI would be commoditized. So you get to the point where this is going to happen to some degree where there's going to be open source. So I just think this is another spot where everyone, because of how fast it's moving, we migrate from Anthropic's ARR is going parabolic. What does that mean for every single company? Anthropic's going to be involved in every company and disrupting them. To, hey, we don't want Anthropic to have our data. We don't want OpenAI to have our data. We need to have open source. We need to have AI sovereignty. This has all been headed this direction. It's not like the Chinese open source models are a new thing. I just think we've reached a point where the Chinese open source models have caught up in a very, very big way. And, the point of what I'm trying to go through is this needs to happen for adoption to lift off. And the cheaper the models get and the more that open source drives the prices lower, the faster adoption happens and the faster we get into a world that we discussed last week, which is based on routers, where just like in a firm, you have different intelligence levels. Not every firm has all 150 IQ people because there's not that many 150 IQ people. So I think the frontier models will stay the way they are with very high cost. And what the Chinese models are going to run into, and this is the other part that isn't getting discussed, but this is if you put everything together, the major story is, even for Kimi K3, which started this whole thing, you saw they ran out of compute immediately, and they're going to have to go IPO. So Eric Schmidt said at the end of last year, and he's repeated it this year, energy is not going to stop AI. The biggest risk to stop AI is capital, and the capital is needed for the compute. And now we're seeing all of this stuff lead to, hey, maybe it's not, the commoditization means adoption is going to go faster. Maybe we don't have the capital to fund all the compute that we need, and the markets and bonds and everything are starting to react that way. Behind every great idea, well, let's start at the higher end. Behind every company that runs into competition is some sort of intelligence that drove it there. Intelligence is behind the ideas. Intelligence is behind figuring out how to market them, how to get it out there. What has changed is time. There are no moats anymore, because the one thing that prevents a moat from happening is the speed of competition. AI is arguably the most complex innovation we've ever seen. It's certainly the most important. The Chinese have been able to stay neck and neck with the US, regardless of how it's done. I don't care whether it's distillation. I don't care whether it's algorithmic efficiencies. They don't have the compute, and they've been able to do it. XAI wasn't even a company. And Grok is right with it. So I just think as you go through this, you have to start to realize that if intelligence is becoming abundant and commoditized and free, how will there ever be an idea that has scarcity? How will there ever be an idea? And this is one of the reasons why, number one, you and I started doing this, and the reason the name of my company or the research I do is AI Macro Nexus. We are at the point where the linear meets the exponential. And in this exponential world, what we're talking about right now is the most important thing, which is to go from intelligence, an idea, a thought, and now have it at the snap of your finger, means there is no way to run a business and not have competition come up extremely quickly. So what Anthropic and OpenAI are going through is something that no one thought could happen 3 months ago, which is, okay, there's now a duopoly. These guys have separated themselves. They're going to reach AGI, and this is going to take off. And what has happened is we're now having a conversation that open source is neck and neck with closed. What does that mean? And I think that just means that intelligence and this whole moat theme 5 years from now.
What makes Jordi Visser's framework so compelling is that it connects trends that many investors still view separately. On one side, you have governments, banks, asset managers, and payment companies moving toward tokenization and stablecoins. On the other, you have artificial intelligence accelerating innovation at a pace that is compressing business cycles and forcing companies to adapt faster than ever before. Together, these forces are reshaping the global economy in real time. The Clarity Act sits directly at the center of that transformation. If it passes, it could remove one of the largest barriers preventing institutional capital from fully embracing blockchain technology. The significance isn't limited to crypto exchanges or token issuers. It affects banks, payment processors, asset managers, and potentially every company that wants to participate in a more efficient financial system. The reason firms managing trillions of dollars are suddenly pushing for the legislation is because they recognize where the world is heading. At the same time, the AI story is becoming far more complicated than the market expected. Open source competition is advancing rapidly. Chinese developers are narrowing the gap with leading US models. Margins are coming under pressure. And as intelligence becomes cheaper and more widely available, the scarcity that once created massive competitive advantages begins to disappear. The winners of the next phase may look very different from the winners of the last phase. Yet through all of these changes, Bitcoin continues to occupy a unique position. If tokenization expands, Bitcoin benefits from greater institutional participation and broader digital asset adoption. If stablecoins become the backbone of global payments, Bitcoin benefits from the growth of blockchain infrastructure. And if AI-driven disruption creates uncertainty across industries and financial markets, Bitcoin's role as a scarce, decentralized asset becomes even more attractive. In many ways, the future Visser describes is one where Bitcoin doesn't need to replace everything. It simply needs to remain the one asset that cannot be replicated, diluted, or disrupted. The coming months could prove to be some of the most important in the history of both crypto and artificial intelligence. Whether it's the Senate's decision on the Clarity Act, the global race for AI dominance, or the accelerating adoption of digital assets around the world, the pace of change is only increasing. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications so you never miss an update. Also, share this video with anyone interested in Bitcoin, crypto, AI, and the future of global finance. And most importantly, let us know in the comments, does the Clarity Act pass? And if it does, how big will the impact be on Bitcoin and the broader crypto market? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.